now on September 11th, which I don't think they ever told us the truth about September 11th either. So, and I'm fond of saying I don't exactly know exactly what happened, but I know what they've tried to tell us happened didn't happen. So,
I just watched videos about the royal family.
that's what more, or the guard there and people trying to get their photos taken and the horse bites them or whatever. It's always
Mhm.
entertaining to me. All
Imagine
right.
how much how annoying that must be to have people come up to you all the time and try to mess with you.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. And I don't think anybody is in favor of these people are messing with them. And if it's like if you get arrested or the horse does this, because you know what I noticed? They are if there's like a special needs person there or something like that, they always bend over backwards. They'll move their horse closer so they can get a photograph of them
Yeah.
together and stuff. So they're really nice to the good ones, and they don't put up as much crap from the other ones.
That's a good thing.
It's a very good thing. All right. Gosh dang it. Here we are. I am good to go. How about you, Barb?
Yeah. I think I'm ready. I'll try.
All right.
I'm still a little not 100% from having that surgery. I don't know what it was, but
No, no, no. You're saying mentally, right?
We can also play it by ear. We can go through as many of these segments as we can. And then if you just don't feel like you have enough energy for it, I completely
yeah,
understand.
it's just weird. It's sort of like I think I was one of my clients is a doctor. He's a surgeon. And I told him I came out of the surgery fighting, ripping things out of my arm, which I've never done that before. And he goes, "Oh, yep, you got the wrong anesthesia." I'm like, okay, well, and it's been almost a week and I'm still just kind of like don't have the energy I normally do. So I don't
You know
know
what
what
I
it
have
is
to
about that
say,
stuff.
I've done that too. Not so much energy, but when they put you under a general, it always takes several days for me to feel like my mind is clear. I always kind of feel like I'm in a sort of a fog for a while.
Yeah, the first day is I wasn't that bad, but now it's just sort of like, okay, I worked for 3 hours getting the show ready. Now I'm ready to go to bed. So
There
it's
you go. Well, I think Dave is right. Let's just do it and we'll see how you feel and we can play it by ear as we go through and
okay.
As much as we can.
yeah.
It's going to be a good show. I'm just trying to get psyched for it.
I went back to drinking Red Bull. I uh I came in one day and I didn't have um I drink this Black Rifle coffee out of the machine. So I go to get one and it's sold out. And so I'm like,
Oh,
okay.
And and
But
on top of that, your computer wasn't working that
oh
day,
my God,
and
I was
there
one
were so many challenges.
crabby individual that day. I mean, I think David knows me well enough to know I was not, as this crappy person. Crabby, not crappy.
To clarify,
Yeah.
because that's so much better.
All right. Let's see what we can do here.
okay.
I'll count us
Give it a
down.
shot.
In 3, 2, 1. Hi, I'm Richard Randall, and welcome to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Colorado's Real Estate Authority, Barb Schlinker. Barb Schlinker is a retired Navy veteran. Barb is an author. Barb's also a pilot. And Barb and her team enjoy all that Colorado and the Front Range have to offer. Barb, always great to be talking with you. Now, we air your real estate voice every Saturday. And if you can't listen to the entire show, it is always available on Barb's site, barbhasbuyers.com, or go ahead and search for it on other podcast platforms like iHeartRadio. Every week, Your Real Estate Voice covers great information about the housing market and one of people's largest assets, the home. Barb, what are we covering today?
Well, Richard, the first topic's probably going to surprise some people because I'm going to be covering where home prices are expected to go in 2026 in Colorado. And when you hear the answer, I think you're going to be quite surprised. So it's a tough market right now. And if you need to sell in the next 12 months, you need to be prepared and don't be surprised. So I'm excited to share this data. I get it from several different sources. One of them I trust, one of them I don't. And we'll be discussing that and figuring out, okay, if you need to sell in the next 12 to 18 months, what is the best strategy for you? And if you're a buyer, what's the best strategy? And then the second topic is why accepting a cash offer actually may be the best solution for some home sellers if they need to sell their home in Colorado. They are a little bit more expensive than selling to a live-in-the-home buyer, but a lot of people are very interested in getting that certainty of sale. They don't want surprises. They don't want I just had a seller complain to me this morning that, well, at this price, I didn't really want to do any repairs. And I tried to explain to her, a live-in-the-home buyer is going to expect everything. They are going to want to give you that price, and then followed by they're going to expect the house to be almost new. And it doesn't help that inspectors get in the game and make them think that they deserve a new home. And that's going to be the third topic, which is how to avoid contract failures on a home inspection when selling your home. I think you'll be surprised at some of the things that we're seeing from home inspections lately. They're coming out and being all of a sudden the house condition gods and claiming that water heaters must be dead if they're more than 8 years old. Smoke detectors must be dead if they're more than 10 years old. And the same with carbon monoxide detectors. And don't forget roofs. If that's more than 10 years old, you need a new one. And without regard to what condition those systems are in. So they've gotten out of control. And I'm not a big regulation girl, but I really wish this was the one trade that there would be some sort of oversight or regulation for inspectors, but there isn't. There is no qualification to be an inspector. I could be an inspector, and I'm scary with a screwdriver in my hands. And then the last topic we're going to cover is what's the best way to sell a house fast in Colorado when we're in this market scenario. We've got higher inventory, much longer days on market. It creeped up in El Paso County to over 106 days on market right now. Most sellers don't want to deal with that. And we have solutions for you. And as always, I love covering our hot new listings. Richard?
So, Barb, with the rates not changing, there are fewer buyers that can afford a home these days. How do you sell a home with fewer buyers to choose from?
Well, it's part of it is supply and demand, but you have to look at what is the supply for a house like yours, right? Not every home is the same. There's high-end homes, there are lower-end homes, right? There are homes that have more or less square footage than you do, and you just have to position the home to be the best home on the market for that time. And you have to take into consideration what your current competition is right now. The interest rates are not helping us. And the problem is a majority of the buyer population right now, their age, Gen Xers, which is in their 50s, I think, millennials, they're in their 30s and 40s and maybe late 20s. Gen Z is younger than that. That is the bulk of the buyer population. And the only thing they have seen in their history is back in 4 years ago, the interest rates were 2.5%, 3%. And they're actually expecting that to happen again. I hate to be the bearer of bad news, but the reason why the super low interest rates took place is that the government was spending money to buy down the interest rate to boost the housing market artificially. And it worked. It absolutely did work. Prices accelerated up 40% across 4 years. And now we're in a situation where the new generation of buyers are expecting to see low interest rates, but they also want the homes to be affordable. So at the end of the day, it's all about house payment and how much they can afford and what the rent costs are. And I think having more people in the country and more demand for housing is another factor. Even rentals have gotten crazy expensive in the last couple of years. And if you really look at the big picture, this is true for all along the Front Range. It's also true all across the country. In general, since 2023, right after the Fed started raising the rates like crazy, the volume of sales has been relatively the same, like flatlining across the board. And what we've seen this year is the interest rates are pretty much relatively the same. So I checked interest rates this morning. Now it's gone back again, up a little bit, 6.38% conventional, just a tick over 6% for the government loans, FHA and VA. And of course, you could buy down your interest rate. So if you have a little bit of extra cash and or negotiating power when you're buying a home, you can buy down the interest rate and actually get a lower payment for the house. However, there's obviously a cost to that, and you have to work with a good mortgage broker and figure out what is it going to take to get a payment that's affordable for you. I don't think the rates are going to drop a whole lot across next year. My crystal ball and my brain says best case, we'll get down there with the fives in front of it and probably stay that way for a long time. That's my guess, but I don't know for sure. And if you look at what the market has done historically, just in the past, say, 3.5 months since August 1st, the median list price has dropped by $25,000. The average days on market has increased. Now, what days on market means is the time from when the house goes on the market to the time the seller accepts a contract. It's usually another 30 days after that where you actually get to the finish line. So you got to build in a good 4 or 5 months in this market right now to get your home sold and get paid to move on to your next home. Now, a lot of things have affected that. The government shutdown did not help. We've got a lot of government workers in and around this area with 5 military bases not too far away. A lot of those people's paycheck were put on hold for almost 2 months. That's hard for most people to sustain. So I think that will probably turn around. We'll see a little bit of improvements in my crystal ball early in the year. But in general, we're just seeing that the inventory is on the higher side as compared to what it was in 2023 and 2024. The mortgage rates are steady as we go. We've dropped a full percentage point since the beginning of the year. And the smart builders, the smart lenders, the smart sellers are offering incentives to get buyers to make offers. Things like, hey, we'll provide you with some of the loan closing costs to buy down the interest rate to get you a better payment. The builders are doing that very successful now. And that's how they're kind of keeping their sales up. And most of all, it's very important that you hire an agent that knows how to create demand for your home. You wouldn't believe, I mean, I look at listings and homes every day in my day-to-day work, and I'm shocked how many agents still put imagery and photos out there of homes that make them look awful. It doesn't matter what price range it is. If your first showing is online, make the bed and pick up the clutter. I mean, is that asking too much, Richard?
Sounds like you have a teenager there. It is not too much to ask to make the bed, pick up the room, and have it look presentable. It's going to help you sell the home and get more money.
Right. And in my view, it's just malpractice for a real estate agent to put that out there as marketing. They're better off not putting any pictures, in my view, because I don't think it's helping them. And they're just thinking, oh, well, it's an as-is deal. I don't have to make any kind of effort, which is just not true. The more buyers you get in the door, the more likely you are to get a buyer to raise their hand and say, I want to make an offer on the house. Even if it's priced below market, even if you think you're going to get multiple offers. The better it looks online, the more opportunities that you have to pick the best offer for you. So at the end of the day, it's all about pricing, preparation, and promotion, and we can help you do that. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice. And we're talking about where we expect prices to go in 2026. And next up, I'm going to give you some predictions from experts that will shock you. Richard?
So, Barb, we're discussing what home buyers and home sellers can expect from the real estate market and what it will be doing in 2026. What are your sources, Barb? What are they predicting?
Well, I've done a little bit of a deep dive and I invest in different data providers to give me an idea of kind of looking into their crystal ball, looking into what the market is doing right now. And most of the experts currently think that homes are what they call overvalued, meaning during that time when the rates were down at 2% and there were bidding wars on every single home that was pretty much on the market, and it was driving the prices way up above current market value. Those values kind of held. We didn't really drop like an elevator. We've only dropped a few percentage points, right? And now we're in a situation where the rates are higher, the buyers can't afford it. There's only so many buyers in a given market. Guess what? They're not buying. And over time, if the seller needs to sell, the trend is most of them are actually dropping the prices. So I pulled two data sources. One of them is Zillow. And Zillow has a much more optimistic view of where the prices are going to go next year. They do think the prices are going to keep dropping, but not by very much, a few percentage points here and there. But my other data source, which is probably the most accurate, they're talking about a much bigger correction depending on what zip code you are in. It could be anywhere from 4 to as much as double-digit percentage points. And there are some areas, northern El Paso County and Elbert and Black Forest, that are going to remain flat, which is a good thing. If the markets overall are correcting and the prices are going to be flat for those areas, that means they're priced, they're not overvalued, they're priced right for what the buyers are demanding. So that was the biggest surprise to me, is to see these experts come out and actually predict that the prices are going down. So what do you do in that scenario? Guess what? Bidding wars are less likely to happen, but they happen in any market, in any situation. I just had one last weekend on a property. I got 3 offers, and I couldn't get these agents to understand what best and highest meant. I had one, Richard, that actually asked me to show her the other offers. Now, how would you feel about that if you're the seller?
Oh my gosh, no. And I think you mentioned the term fiduciary quite a bit.
Yeah.
You guard your information and your clients very, very well.
Yeah. So anyway, but it didn't drive it way up over asking price, but the concessions went away. One of them obviously didn't throw their best offer in there. And there's only one buyer that could get the house. So whoever made the best offer got the house. It's just that simple. And if it's priced right, it will happen even still in this market. And we know exactly how to do that. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call, 719-301-3900, or visit barbhasthebuyers.com and we can help you. Richard?
You're listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And if you are thinking of making a move, simply call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. A short break. When we come back, we'll be discussing why accepting a cash offer may be the best solution for a home sale here in Colorado. I like that. Of course I like it.
You can nap after this. Does my voice sound raggedy, DJ?
It does not. You're drinking enough water so far?
She's probably got lemon and tea in there.
I've got lemonade and I've got chai latte, which I don't think helps my voice. makes me happy.
It sounds okay though.
The lemon is good. It's drying out what the chai is building up. So
Yeah,
you're getting balance.
I'm getting caffeine.
Oh, there you
That's what we're talking about here.
go. That's what this guy's after.
All right. I got a new one whenever everybody is ready.
Okay.
Here is
Count us down in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. I don't like that. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. This is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, host of the program and the owner-broker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, many home sellers want to sell their homes for the most money that they can get. However, there are some situations where people need to use other non-traditional ways of selling. Can you tell us about the cash offer program that you're offering?
Well, yeah, Richard, we actually have not just one cash offer. With most home sellers, we show up with 6, sometimes 8 offers on their home at the first meeting. So they have a choice. They can either go on the open market and deal with showing after showing, excuse me, deal with showing after showing and have these agents come through the house and nitpick. It needed that. The carpet isn't perfect. I don't like the popcorn ceilings. I don't like the backyard. I mean, oh my God. You
I'm
know,
annoyed just listening to that.
and the agents, they don't know how to deal with objections. You should be asking something like, but other than the carpet, maybe we could, sorry, hang on a sec. They could say something like, other than the carpet, do you think that maybe we could negotiate to get a concession to get you brand new carpet? Other than that, do you think you could see yourself in this home? Do you want to go back to the office and explore it further? But they don't do that. They just listen to the negatives and move on. I've even seen agents show homes where the buyer was in love with the home, and then they keep showing them other homes. It's like, what are you doing? There's no training, there's no standardization. It's extremely frustrating for home sellers because they'll hear all this weak feedback that could easily be addressed, or they hear feedback on a ranch that they need a 2-story, which tells me the agent never interviewed the buyer at all about what they were looking for. They're just opening the door and hoping it works out. So I get frustrated with that. And so do the sellers, because it is a process. Obviously, it's a huge investment, right? But the agents have a role to play to encourage them that, hey, we can overcome some of these problems. So the first thing that we do with home sellers is we ask them which experience they want to have when they sell their house. Do they want to go through that process where they have to wait 120 days to get to the finish line, deal with all these showings, deal with inspectors and agents blowing up deals until we finally actually close? Or do they want the sure bet, cost a little bit more? We know exactly when we can close. We know exactly when we can turn over the house, and we can move on to our next phase, our next home in life. And that is the benefit of a cash offer, is the absolute certainty. These people aren't going to rug pull you like a live in the home buyer. What those guys do is they'll go, oh, I love the house. Oh my God. Then we create all this demand destruction because we have to, the MLS rules are that we have to tell the world that it's under contract, which means that other agents won't show it, even though at this point, it's not certain. That buyer or the inspector or somebody could blow up the deal between now and closing. And it happens probably 25% of the time right now. Those are not very good odds. So in the meantime, you've got your house telling the world it's not available, and you're waiting for this buyer to either go or no go. So you engage in inspection negotiations, appraisal negotiations, uncertainty of whether or not the lender can get to the finish line. All those things could happen during the process. And I just got an inspection objection yesterday where I fully read the whole report from the inspector. And just because there was a little bit of dirt on a windowsill, from that, he assumed, oh my God, there's mold. You have to bring in a mold remediation company and solve the problem, right? And it's, well, did he test for mold? No. Is there any empirical data about that? No, but it's enough to influence the buyer to walk away. So that's why home sellers hate that process. They hate dealing with showings and having to leave the house so people can come look at the home, and they have to gather up kids and pets and everybody else, make sure the house looks pretty. And then they're going to tie up your house for 30 or 45 days. And I have had people walk away days before closing just because, and think that they get their earnest money deposit back because they changed their mind. So I'm just saying, sellers hate the traditional sales process. And right now, with the market being a little soft and compromised, guess what? I don't blame them. For me, it would be worth paying a few percentage points more to not ever have to deal with it. So, and some people worry about, do I have to fix up the house? Well, it depends on the price. We sold a home this summer in Briargate, and it was 4 brothers that inherited the home. They decided they wanted to sell the home absolutely as is. We went down the cash offer process. They didn't want to do that, but they said, we're not fixing anything, right? So that I said, well, there's a different price for that. Full market value would be this higher number, but needs repairs would be this lower number. So we did the lower number, had a huge crowd look at the home, had 4 offers. It sold for $20,000 over asking price. But guess what? They still had to do a couple of repairs. They had to replace the roof, because if you get a live in the home buyer and your roof has compromised with hail, they cannot get homeowners insurance on that roof. So they're going to demand that you file a claim in order to replace that roof. So there's a lot of uncertainties that go with the traditional sales price. And that is why people opt for a cash offer. And what if you're building a home? Let's say you picked a brand new home that you want to buy. Many of these builders will not accept what we call a sale contingency because they fully understand how uncertain this market is right now. We've got interest rates on the high side. They know all about how buyers could walk away from the sale and leave them holding the bag. And they have a monthly cost of carrying that new construction home until it actually sells. So they won't take a sale contingency. We can solve that problem with our cash offer platform. And you know what? It's an increasing amount of people that are accepting cash deals. At least it is in my practice. I'm having more and more sellers go, hey, I'm not dealing with that. I can't wait 4 months. Let's do this now. Can I get closed in a month and get my money? And we're like, absolutely, we can do it. So these cash offer programs are gaining momentum because they know for sure it's going to go through. Even if they need to do repairs, what these buyers do is they might just say, okay, we will change the deduction off the house to cover the cost of repairs, that kind of thing. So it's really no hassle. You don't have to deal with repairs. You don't have to deal with buyers coming through your house. You have one very light inspection, and then you collect your money in 2 to 3 weeks. So it's really, really good. And you also don't have to prepare your home for sale. Not everybody is the HGTV home seller. I know I'm not. If I put my house on the market right now, it would be a lot of work to get it to where I would think would be what I would consider would be acceptable to present to the world. It would take me months. I just know that. So you don't have to prepare your home for sale when you take a cash offer. You get to move when you want. And some of these investors will let you stay in the home even months after closing. That way you've got your money, you can make your next move. and move on your schedule, which is really a great benefit. My name is Barb Schlinker. I'm the broker owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty and the host of this show. And we're talking about why accepting a cash offer might be a good idea right now, especially in this market where the prices are dropping. There's fewer buyers to choose from, and it's taking a lot longer to sell. This brings back in certainty to the deal where you know for sure you're going to get to the finish line on this date at this price, even full market value without any trouble. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call, 719-301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Barb Schlinker on Your Real Estate Voice. Barb is the owner broker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And if you are interested in selling your home, you want to call Barb at 719-301-3900. We're talking, Barb, about selling a home. So, Barb, why would a home seller be interested in getting a cash offer on their home?
Well, there's a lot of reasons, and everybody has different reasons, but I would say number one, it's nothing like the traditional sales process. These buyers are paying cash. They don't have to get a third-party opinion of value called an appraisal. You have an expedited closing time frame. Up front, they will give you a letter showing they have plenty of money to close on the sale. There's really no risk of failure unless there's some condition issue with the home that they decide after they do the inspection they cannot overcome, which I haven't seen that happen. You have total peace of mind. You have certainty it's sold. You don't have to worry about repairs. And you don't really have to do a lot of paperwork. So one of the things that frustrates the regular sellers is that, you've negotiated to go under contract, then they come back and do an inspection and they ask for more stuff. So now you're negotiating again. And most home sellers, they've already spent the money that I gave them with their net proceeds in their mind, right? So they don't like surprises and having to come out of pocket for even more expenses after the buyer does this inspection. So it's just some of the great reasons to deal with a cash sale. And you don't have to deal with strangers coming to your house, which a lot of people don't like that either. So, now is really a good time to buy a house because the prices are not at, top of the price point that we've seen in the past couple of years. And you could set everything up where you close on time, you have peace of mind, and you know for sure you're getting to the finish line on this date at this time without any hassle. If you are thinking of making a move, you have options with us. You can either get a cash offer or you could go on the open market and see what's available there. And you know what? This cash offer is available as a backdrop as well down the road if you don't like what the market's doing. Just give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. If you're thinking of making a move, Barb's number is 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be discussing how to avoid contract failures on a home inspection when you're selling your home.
Turn the clock off, so I didn't know what time it was.
I didn't either. It felt like we're close, right?
12:51.
Gee.
Nice.
All right.
I glance at my iPad and go, oh no, I wonder what time it is.
You know what? Actually, there have been a couple of times, I didn't have the clock up on that one. There have been a couple of times when I forgot to start it. And it seems like you're always in the ballpark, always in the ballpark. All right. Segment 3, I'm good to go. How about you, Barb?
Ready.
Oh, wait, he's still saving. So I'm trying to figure out the whole Amelia Earhart thing now that they're releasing the files.
Did I tell you about a new dog?
No. What kind?
I inherited my grandma's dog.
Oh, so you brought it back. How did you get it back?
My cousin met me in Ogallala.
I love Ogallala, just incidentally. It's kind of close to North Platte, and it's an old railroad town and an old cattle town. They drive all the Longhorns up from Texas all the way to Ogallala, put them on a train, ship them to Chicago.
The Buffalo Bill Museum.
That's right, that's right. And you have the big arch there too, right? Over the interstate.
Oh no, that's on further down.
Oh, that's right. Kearney or maybe
Yeah,
Grand
Kearney.
Island, something like that. Yeah. My son's at Creighton now, so
It's cool.
he likes it. He likes it. Oh, that is one cute. There's no way she can see that, is there?
Yeah, there is.
You gotta see this dog. You gotta see this dog.
Let's see if I can get this around there.
Oh my gosh.
And how is yours doing, Barb?
It's so cute. He's big.
Ah, every week you say that because he just keeps getting bigger. It sounds
Yeah,
like.
he's 75 pounds was the last weigh in
Ow.
at 7 months. So, he's getting better.
That is a
Um,
big dog.
like the different techniques we use he thinks my ankles are chew toys, and so I have to get him to stop doing that because he trips me a lot.
That can be dangerous.
Yeah.
Yes.
That can be dangerous.
And so we've tried different things. We tried the shaker thing and it doesn't really work. And I tried grabbing the scruff of his neck, and he's like, this is fun. Let's do it some more. So
Are we playing here or what?
yeah. So then my husband got a drill and took the bit out because it makes that rrr noise.
Yeah.
And at first that scared him, but now it's kind of fun.
Jeez.
So anyway, it's just taking time. But he got through potty training pretty well. He did really good with that. I was quite impressed.
You have a portable vacuum?
Yeah, yeah.
Try
we should
turning
use
that
that.
on. Yeah. But sometimes that scares them enough.
Yeah.
And all it'll do is kind of suck in his ear or whatever, but might freak him out.
Yeah. Whose dog is that?
Hmm?
Whose dog was that?
Oh, that used to be my grandma's dog, and we inherited her.
Aw,
Yeah. Didn't want my cousin to take her to the pound, so
no.
she's a 6-year-old sweetheart. So
Mhm.
Ooh. All right. I'm good, Barb. How about you?
Yeah. I don't know why the um name page isn't showing up, but it doesn't matter. It's okay.
All right. I'll count us down in 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker, the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate with Barb Schlinker, the owner broker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Now, Barb, many home sellers fear that inspection. Many people think that most buyers want to purchase their home as is. What are some of the red flags that home sellers need to prepare for when it comes to selling their home?
Well, Richard, the most common contract failure is our inspections. Essentially, in this state, they kind of set the sellers up for failure in that there is no qualification to be an inspector. So every week, this goes on every week, I get crazy stuff that these agents are asking for. Like they'll go, well, my inspector could not figure out, where the sewer line was. And I'm like, what are you doing in the sewer line? I don't allow unlicensed, unqualified inspectors to explore going into a sewer line. So I'm going to push back on those kind of things every day. And most agents just assume that their inspector knows exactly what they're doing. And there's just no qualification. Some of them will do an online certification, if that makes you feel any better. But even then, they are not experts in any trade, right? So they will all of a sudden go, oh, well, your roof is 10 years old, therefore it needs to be replaced, even though the roof's in perfect shape. Or My favorite is water heaters. I just got one the other night that said, well, the water heater is soon to be beyond its useful life. The average useful life is 8 to 12 years. This thing's 8 years old. Even though it's working fine, they convinced the buyer to give them a new water heater. And I'm like, well, would you like fries with that too? I mean, no, we're not doing that. I mean, the purpose of an inspection is to confirm the systems are working. This is not their opportunity to upgrade stuff. If it's broken, okay, I understand that, and it should be addressed. But if it's working, you don't deem it dead just because it's a certain age. They do the same thing with smoke detectors. They do the same thing with carbon monoxide detectors. And they also try to impose today's building code on older homes. I just had an inspector convince a seller recently to impose tomorrow's building code on the furnace, which requires some kind of, I don't know what it was, some kind of drain pan around the furnace, but it was expensive. It was $1,900, and it's not even current code. It's next year's code. So, you know, I don't think it's fair to ask the seller to update the home to today's building code. And, you know, we're having our furnace looked at right now, Richard, because apparently there's some new building code that's going to change after the first of the year, that if you wait until next year to update your furnace, if it needs to be updated, it's going to cost a lot more money because of these new emission standards and all of that. So we're definitely turning into California as far as stuff is concerned. So I'm glad he told me that, because we have two furnaces. One of them was replaced about 8 years ago, and the home is 24 years old. And another one is original, but it still works. There's nothing wrong with it. But if I wait until next year, I'm going to spend another $3,000 or $4,000 replacing that furnace that needs to be replaced. So it's good to know that kind of information. But that doesn't mean you have to replace it. If it's not broken, you don't have to fix it. So I don't know why they are trying to get the buyers to demand stuff like this. And, you know, even though it says in the contract that the home is sold as is, where is, with all its faults, it gives the buyer the opportunity to do their inspection, but it doesn't allow them to automatically get new stuff. And I also have a client that's more or less a corporate seller. They're the asset management company for the Secretary of Veterans Affairs across the whole nation. So right now we're handling over a dozen properties for them. And when they sell their homes, they're as is. So the buyer is welcome to do their inspection. If the plumbing is not compromised, they may or may not let them turn the water on. But other than that, they're not fixing anything. It's a thumbs up or thumbs down. That's the whole purpose of the inspection for those homes. I wish it was true for the traditional sales homes, but it's not. So what happens is these inspectors come in and they go, oh, you've got a little bit of dirt right there on that windowsill. That must be mold. You got to have mold remediation. I mean, they just make up stuff, and it makes me crazy. One of my agents just helped a buyer buy a house, and she fired the agent brought the inspector. She fired him over this because the house was older, and he automatically said, oh, this drywall has asbestos. It's going to be $35,000 to fix it. So now he's convinced the buyer to ask for a $35,000 concession. It almost caused the inspector to blow up the deal. And she told the inspector, you're fired. You didn't test for asbestos. You don't know if that's true or not. Why are you saying that? You know, I'm not going to ever use you again. So it's the same thing with inexperienced real estate agents, right? I was talking to one of my clients about this yesterday, about how they'll come in and they will try to disparage the home and say things, even though they're supposed to be the salesperson, in order to make themselves look like they are experts in the field. Okay. And the problem is that they discourage the buyer from buying the home that they love. Almost anything is fixable. So it doesn't make sense why these inspectors encourage these buyers to ask for things. So there are a lot of things that get requested on an inspection. Now, some of the buyer's agents will try to make the buyer look more attractive, especially if there's competition, by saying, oh, we're only going to ask for health and safety and major systems. That's it. We're not going to ask for cosmetic. But then they do end up asking for cosmetic anyway. So that's what you say, but it's not what you do. It drives me crazy. But we know that these inspectors in this state are not qualified to really judge the systems. Some of them are pretty good. I have an inspector that I work with all the time that I trust and I respect, but he isn't the kind of guy to say, I know it needs a new water heater just because it's old. He doesn't do that. He says, this is the normal lifespan. You might want to have a plumber look at it. He doesn't deem these systems dead, like water heaters, roofs, smoke detectors, and carbon monoxide detectors, without some kind of verification. Usually, if there is something to substantiate the condition issue, then that makes sense. Probably the most common thing that get hit on inspections, even now this time of year, are roofs. So most people don't worry about their roof if it's not leaking. And in this climate, we have hailstorms every summer. Some are lightweight, some are not. You never know, right? And you never know if your roof has been damaged by hail. So that's something that we offer our home sellers to get a free roof check before they go on the market. That way they know in advance if they have to deal with that. It's one of the biggest ticket items that you might have to repair, replace. I have one seller that had a relatively new roof, but it was showing signs of wear, but no hail damage. So two roofers said he needed a new roof. The third one said, oh, I can fix it. And I have the shingles to match. But guess what happened? They showed up, they pulled the damaged shingles off, and they put on the wrong color. It was a brown roof. They put on black shingles. So guess what he had to do? He had to pay to replace this roof that didn't have hail damage. So you really want to work with trusted vendors. Another high ticket item, of course, are furnaces. If they're newer, I would recommend to get ahead of it, have it cleaned and serviced. The electrical panels are another area that could be a problem if it's an older home. The older panels, called Federal Pacific, if you go online and you research a Federal Pacific panel, it will terrify you and make you think your house is going to burn down. However, there are some models of that brand that are okay and some that are not. So you want to look into that before you put your home on the market. Another big ticket item area of concern are the sewer lines and or septic lines. So sewer lines, generally, every time I ask a seller, have you ever checked your sewer line? I would say 9 out of 10 times they're saying, no, we haven't had any problems. And that's the thing. They don't do anything with it if it didn't back up. But over time, especially with big healthy trees, the roots could get into the pipes and that kind of thing. You might want to have it checked out. So the latest trend that started in 2018 is these Joe, Billy, Bob inspectors come along and go, oh, I'm going to check your sewer line. So they bring out this big roll of cord with a camera on the end, and they don't know what they're doing. So these are people that are not even plumbers running these cords across your flooring that have been inside sewer lines, which is all gross all by itself, right? And they don't even know what they're looking at. I've looked at these videos of sewer lines. I don't know what I'm looking at. It just looks like the inside of a pipe to me. That's not that pretty. So, these guys don't know what they're doing. I've had them break stuff. I've had them drop the cap on the sewer line, down the sewer line, and not be able to get it out. I've had them go down the wrong pipe. It's just, that's not their arena. So we finally, and my favorite thing is that they pull toilets. I love that part, without permission. Now imagine, Richard, it's your house. Somebody's coming along doing an inspection, not licensed, not qualified, not a plumber, and decides on their own to just pull a toilet and check out the sewer line. How do you feel about that?
I am angry as can be, and I'm wishing that I'd hired Barb Schlinker to represent me.
Yeah, so I have to push back. I reached a point now where I have to push back in the contract to tell the buyer, if you want to check the sewer line, you need to bring in a licensed plumber to do it. That is not going to be something that an unlicensed inspector can do. So that same with septic. Now, septic, if you have problems with your septic, it could take months to get those things resolved. So if you have a septic system, you definitely want to have it inspected prior to going on the market to get that all done. And there's many more. There's electrical, there's plumbing, appliances. Just so you know, some of the appliances that are offered with a home are not part of the real estate. Things like refrigerator, washer, and dryer, those are a gift to the buyer. But the inspectors come along and they're like, well, if it's included, I'm going to check it out. And, oh, look, the water dispenser, the ice dispenser is not working. So Mr. and Mrs. Seller, you need to fix that. And we have to put in the contract that those things are offered as a courtesy as is, because it's a gift to the buyer. If you've ever been down to a used appliance store, as I have many times, it's pretty expensive, just a used appliance. It's not part of the real estate. So if you're leaving those things, they are a present. If they have a problem with their ice maker, they're as is. So sorry, the buyer can get it fixed themselves. So if you are thinking of making a move and you really want a good checklist on how to get ready for your inspection, give me a call. We've got a great checklist for that. You can go to barbhasthebuyers.com, click on free reports, or give us a call at 719-301-3900. I'm Barb Schlinker, the host of this show, Your Real Estate Voice, and we're talking about how you avoid contract failures. And when we come back, we're going to touch on briefly the best thing you can do to prepare for your inspection. Richard?
You're listening to Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. And if you are interested in selling your home, you want to call Barb at 719-301-3900. And we're talking, Barb, about how to avoid those red flags on a home inspection for sellers. Barb, what are some of the other home inspection issues that you've seen come up?
Well, those, it's the funnest part for me because I'm always surprised every single day. But I will tell you, the best way you can prepare for it is get an inspection ahead of going on the market. That way, you know, you can plan for anything that you have to fix. We offer something called our proprietary certified pre-owned home program, which helps you avoid those red flags, because the last thing you want is to think your home is sold, start packing out your house, everything's hunky-dory, and then inspection comes along and you have to budget for all these major repairs that you didn't see coming. You want to know all that stuff in advance, and we can help you do that. So give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. If you are thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. We'll take a short break. When we come back, we'll be discussing the best way to sell a house fast in Colorado's higher inventory market, plus Barb's hot new listings.
Yeah, guess I'm very passionate about that subject.
You are. But I mean, you're right. I mean, and I got to tell you, I think every person out there, when you're dragging some inspection cable that's bent down the sewer across your, kitchen floor, that might not be fun.
Thought of it, you know.
Who thought this was a good idea? You're fired.
That should be it, right? All right. I'm good, Barb.
I think so. I think we can crank it out.
All right, let's do it. 3, 2, 1. Welcome back to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker. She is your real estate voice, and this is the weekly radio show that informs and educates you on how to buy or sell real estate. And it does it with Barb Schlinker, the owner broker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Barb, a lot of people look at those automated valuations that you can see on Zillow, or they take their neighbor's asking price to try to determine what their home is worth. Especially now that it's taking longer to sell a home, how does a home seller value their home to have it value their home, value their home so it sells faster in this market?
Well, Richard, in this market, it's all about pricing. And I mean pricing very realistically, not optimistically. The people that price optimistically, their house just sits there month after month after month. You can tell by the volume of showings, you can tell by the buyer interest. It's all about pricing, just like anything else. And if you want to get the most money, it doesn't mean you price high for negotiations. I have a listing right now that's nice home, great floor plan, but the main level carpet's a little, dogged up and worn out, and it really stands out. The sellers have already moved out, so you can absolutely see that now that it's an empty home. So I've convinced the seller to maybe consider replacing that carpet because they have more competition. It's just 3 bedrooms on the main level, most of it's hard surface. And not a lot of money can go a long way. And it's been the feedback very consistently that the carpets doesn't look good. It doesn't smell good. It's kind of dogged up. They're just going to move on and go buy new construction because most buyers don't want to do any work and they don't have the cash resources to fix up homes unless they're priced way below and they're a really good bargain for them. So pricing is absolutely critical. And if you price it too high, you're going to be able to tell right away based on the volume of showings. Very few showings, no offers. We didn't hit the mark. And, I work for several different corporate sellers. I have one that's the asset management company that represents the Secretary of Veterans Affairs. So they cover all of their properties all across the nation that unfortunately have been taken back in foreclosure. I hate to see that happen, but it is happening because a lot of these military folks bought the house in 2020, 2021, when the market was booming and got into a bidding war and then got 100% financing. And then the market values dropped and they don't have enough equity to sell the home. I don't think you can ever price a home too low. That's why you'll occasionally see an auction process home that might be priced at $1. Now, I don't like listing those because the phone blows up with all these random people going, I have $1, I have $1. And it's hard to explain to them that it's not going to sell for $1, right? That's just the opening bid. It's going to bid at whatever the buyers are willing to pay for that home. And I get that people are trying to get the most money when they sell their home, but at the end of the day, it's what a buyer is willing to pay. And you can tell right away. I have one of my corporate sellers right now. Their strategy is when they go on the market, we give it all we got. We try to get the most that we can. But if we don't, in 2 weeks, boom, price reduction. And if it still doesn't work, 2 weeks, boom, another price reduction. So we did this several times. And finally, we got to a number where, lo and behold, we got 3 offers on the same weekend. So that's the number, right? That's how you know what the market will command. And if you start at that number, it reduces the pain of the home selling process way better than waiting the long, ridiculous process. If more than half of the home sellers are lowering their price, they're not working with the right data. They're looking at historic data while the market, even according to Zillow, is starting to gradually go down. And buyers are pickier than ever. They all want HGTV and they all want it for a bargain price. So even in this market, sometimes when these agents, like I mentioned, that one example of that corporate seller, I had 3 offers. Of the 3 offers, one of them didn't even come up to asking price. And it's like, what? I thought that was dumb. It was It was the same one that asked me to show her the other offers. And I felt like she was saying, well, I don't trust you. You're lying, which we're not technically not allowed to do. I don't do that. I don't say, oh, we have other offers, if it's not true. I don't do that. There probably are agents, unscrupulous agents that play that game, but I don't want to be that way in my business. That's not how I work. So if it's true, I'm going to tell them the truth. And the market is going to tell you immediately if you got the price right. If you're not getting very many showings, is not right. Even the VA's asset management company, they'll start kind of on the high side. So I'll say, no, this is where I think it's going to sell. And then they don't listen to me. They take the appraiser's opinion and it sits on the market. And every month they're like, okay, tell us why it didn't sell. I'm like, we had this many showings. This is the feedback. It's priced too high. And when they finally listen to me, boom, it sells. So you can tell if it's too high based on just one thing, whether or not you're getting offers, right? If you're getting offers, you're on target. If you're not getting offers, you're too high. It's just that simple. And according to the National Association of Realtors, if you price a home too high and slowly walk the price down, like what most of the sellers are doing these days, guess what? You're going to net less money. Everybody wants the most money. So come out of the gate with the most aggressive price that you could stand. And that's how you win in this market, because the buyers, especially if you get more than one, are going to gravitate to the highest price to get that house. And then what about pricing according to Zillow and Realtor.com and all these other automated values? So Zillow has been wrong for a long time. They lost $1 billion being wrong about home value in 2021. When they started buying homes, they would go VFR direct to these sellers that said they wanted an offer and say, I'll offer you this much. And then they double check. They'd ask me to come look at the home. And these homeowners would say, well, Zillow offered me this much. And I looked at them. I didn't want to go through the whole process of putting their house on the market and not being able to beat their price. So I just said, you should take it. You're going to get more money going with Zillow. And so Zillow went on and overpaid for thousands of homes and lost $1 billion. Overpay. That's a lot of money. The average real estate agent doesn't have $1 billion to torch. Neither does the average investor. I don't know how Zillow did it, to be honest with you, but they got out of the home buying business. Now they're kind of paired with Open Door, which I'm sure you've heard of those guys. And even Open Door, I was talking to one of my clients the other day, and he said, yeah, remember when you helped me sell my home to them? I'm like, I do. He goes, yeah, they took that home, they put all this money in it, they went on the market, and they ended up selling for less than the price that they gave me. And I said, yep, that's the market right now. And there's a way to handle it, and there's a way to not handle it. And we know what to do because we do this all the time. So pricing it right, the market's going to tell you if you priced it right. Even if a home needs updating, like I sold this home down in Fountain. I loved it. It was built in the 60s. The kitchen the appliances were original. So how many years is that? 65 wow. Years old, but cute as a button, very well maintained. And that home sold with a bidding war because the seller chose to price it just right. And buyers are going to assume that you'll accept the asking price. You don't have to accept the asking price. It depends on the condition. Which one is the best offer? Like when I had that bidding war last weekend, the seller didn't accept the highest offer, but he did accept the highest net to the seller, right? If that makes sense. Like one buyer came in higher, but they needed all these concessions to pay closing costs because they had no down payment. And that wasn't the best net for the seller at the end of the day. It's always good to price your home what I call optimism. Let me say that again. It's always good to price your home very realistically versus optimistically. And you can get some good data, and most agents should show up with good data that would show you similar recent sales, apples to apples, as well as similar current competition. That's probably more important right now than similar recent sales, because the buyers are looking for what they can get in their price range. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call at 301-3900, or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. You can listen to replays of the show anytime on all of the major podcast platforms and Barb's YouTube channel, Barb Schlinker. If you're thinking of making a move, call Barb at 719-301-3900. Barb, what are some of those other magic bullets on pricing your home to get that top dollar?
Well, if your first showing is online, then the pictures are absolutely critical, right? But not everybody updates their home. So you want to make sure that you price the home right for its condition. I had one seller this year that said, "Hey, you sold my neighbor's home for way over asking price. Can you do that for my house?" And so we did. We got it sold in just 1 week, and we sold it for $50,000 over asking price. And it was a lot of fun. So it's very important that you hire the agent that understands the market to get you top dollar. And we do this every single week. So give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You're listening to Barb Schlinker, your real estate voice. If you're thinking of selling your home, you want to get the most amount of money, of course, call Barb 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. Barb, lightning round, hot new listings. What do you have?
Well, I have a really cool home out in Yoder. It's owned by the VA, so it's as is on 35 acres, priced at just $209. So if you want to be out there with the cows and great views, that's a really good buy to get that kind of acreage. We also have a beautiful townhome, 420 Autumn Heights Drive, priced at $335. This home is kind of set up for roommates. It's got one master on the main level and one upstairs and a loft. So it's pretty cool. Good location in the 80906 zip code. Beautiful ranch on a corner lot at 2436 Meade Avenue, priced in the low twos. Has a really, really nice custom detached garage in great condition with gleaming hardwood floors. An amazing home on 1 acre at 7191 Ross Drive, priced at $759. So to be in town on District 20 on acreage with an attached garage and a detached garage and be able to park all your toys and RVs and all that is just amazing at $759.9. We have a beautiful rancher, 8029 Sandy Court, priced at $539.9, down close to Constitution and Mark Sheffel, almost new home. An amazing home at 1438 East 13th Street in Pueblo, priced at $349.9. This home is really cool, very unique, and it also has a swimming pool. We have a beautiful home on 30 Stephen Drive in Florissant. It's on 2 acres, priced at $449. It's a ranch with a finished basement. You can actually rent out the basement and be able to have half your payment paid. Another home owned by the VA on 10546 Domikite up there off of Interquest, priced at $349. You can't get a new one right now for less than $400, so that's a good buy. And a beautiful home on Capitol Peak Way in Peyton, plus an amazing home in Broadmoor Bluffs, $659.9, backs to NORAD, and a beautiful lot on Hidden Valley that they're actually talking about selling 2 lots together. So you can get 5 acres out there in Park County and have a great vacation location. We also have a couple of coming soon homes. We have a really nice rancher coming up on Yarrow Place, priced in the low 400s, and a beautiful home in Briargate on Stable Court that backs to open space in the low 500s. So if you are thinking of making a move, give us a call at 719-301-3900 or go to barbhasthebuyers.com. Richard?
You've been listening to Your Real Estate Voice with Barb Schlinker of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. If you're making a move, call Barb 719-301-3900 or visit barbhasthebuyers.com. That's it for this week. Barb, have a great week, a great weekend. We'll talk to you soon.
Thank you.